Whatever time you're seeing this, we want you to know that we are live at 8 p.m. Eastern. The primary replay is at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. We're also replayed at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 3 p.m., and 6 p.m. Watch all 9 editions, and you attain eternal life. Also, there's web-only stuff at Countdown Online. New tonight, second half of our Van Jones interview. We'll be cutting back, happily, to 5 replays next week. The president set himself up tonight for the prospect of getting booed at or near a Democratic fundraiser. The problem for him, it's in New York, it's on Broadway, and it's as the local debate over legalizing same-sex marriage continues, unsettled in a hazy, infuriating limbo between reactionary New York State politicians and the regular kind of New York State politicians who haven't got anything done on time since they built the Erie Canal in 1825. As of now, 31 New York State senators support the bill. There's still 5 undecided Republicans. The bill is 1 vote shy of passage, and the vote has been postponed almost once an hour for the last 4 days. If it does pass, New York would be by far the most populous state to legalize same-sex marriage, and it would double the number of Americans living in a state where gay marriage is legal. The president has skirted the issue recently by saying his position on same-sex marriage is evolving. Tonight, at the fundraiser, the evolution was televised.
I believe that gay couples deserve the same legal rights as every other couple in this country. Traditionally, marriage has been decided by the states. And right now, I understand there's a little debate going on here in New York about whether to join 5 other states and D.C. in allowing civil marriage for gay couples. And I want to say that under the leadership of Governor Cuomo, with the support of Democrats and Republicans, New York is doing exactly what democracies are supposed to do. Slowly but surely, we find the way forward. That's how we will achieve change that is lasting. Change that just a few years ago would have seemed impossible.
As president, that's about as close as Mr. Obama has come to supporting gay marriage. But back in 1996, when he was running for state senator, it was reported that he unequivocally supported the idea of same-sex marriage. He later backed off that stance, and in 2008, when he was running for president, he told evangelical pastor Rick Warren this.
Define marriage.
I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, For me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union. God's in the mix.
Obama says he supports civil unions and civil rights for gay Americans, but as he said tonight, he still considers marriage to be a state matter and is a view that still upsets many in the LGBT community. Still, he has earned points by repealing the ban on gays serving in the military and also instructing the Justice Department to stop defending a federal law that defines marriage as between a man and a woman. While coming out in support of gay marriage could mean extra campaign funding dollars for the president, politically he doesn't have much to gain from it, since he would not lose votes to Republicans who are now vying to see who can be the most vehemently opposite to same-sex marriage. And despite the protesters outside the event tonight urging Obama to support same-sex marriage, prominent gay leaders, including Dan Savage, who started the group It Gets Better, and also members of the Human Rights Campaign, have already endorsed his re-election bid. As promised on this, a brief comment tonight about the continuing fight over same-sex marriage and the tipping point for or against, represented by events here in New York State. The tipping point, of course, is temporary. Every year, the margin by which this country supports this grows, and within a decade or perhaps less, it will be universal in this nation, period. Ironically, this is not because there is great advocacy for it, but simply out of an inability of younger people in this country to do what older ones still can, to pretend that this matters anymore. It just doesn't. It won't destroy the democracy. It doesn't destroy the family. It strengthens the institution of marriage and its principal premise of fidelity, and it increases the number of people living in stable and loving homes. And the more that modern life allows us to interact with others of different faiths and professions and interests and origins, the more we understand that people are fundamentally the same all over, good and bad. And if you want to categorize people, you should categorize them on their honesty, their sincerity, their generosity. But a curious thing is happening to the forces still opposed to same-sex marriage. They are getting desperate. There was a protester in the New York capital of Albany this week who explained this was all about the children, that the same-sex families had kids who were exposed to things they should never face anywhere, let alone at home. Oops. If you want to open up the Pandora's box of judging whether people should be permitted to marry based on their qualifications to be parents, I'm afraid there are only going to be about 43 weddings per year in this country, because the list of risks to children created by their parents is nightmarishly long, and standing there being all gay around them is probably no higher than number 206. If the opponents of same-sex marriage want to take this perilous route, they are likely only to hasten same-sex marriage in all 50 states and to merely bloody themselves in the process. Because sooner rather than later, the euphemisms and the facades, especially this one about raising children, will fall away, and the opponents will be revealed to be carrying water for a larger kind of orthodoxy. Their church is opposed to same-sex marriage because same-sex marriage means diversity, and diversity means peaceful interaction between members of different groups and religions. And peaceful interaction means fears and prejudices are diminished, and the diminishing means that those churches' cartel in the religion business is jeopardized. I'm not talking belief or faith here. Your belief and your faith, providing you do not hurt anybody else with it, is your business, and I defend you. But if you think big league religions are only about faith and not at all about business or about keeping people scared, then you have not been paying attention in church or out. And there is an even bigger issue. There is an ever-growing acceptance of what I said about this nearly 3 years ago after the hateful Prop 8 was passed in California. This is, corny as it seems, not about politics or religions or power or lobbying. It is about love. In a time of impermanence and fly-by-night relationships, these people over here want the same chance at permanence and happiness that is already yours. They don't want to deny you yours. They don't want to take anything away from you. They want what you want, a chance to be a little less alone in the world. And your acceptance of their love turns out to be your own expression of love to your fellow human being. As in 2008, the poetry of the 11th century Persian Omar Khayyam tells this story best. I recommend it to anybody still holding out on this, whether they be pedestrian or president. So I be written in the book of love. I do not care about that book above. Erase my name or write it as you will, so I be written in the book of love. Continuing with the real-life results, what happens when you throw out all the undocumented workers, rotting food.